December is off to a close and we are going to enter the Christmas season. And in this Christmas season also we have got a couple of big movies releasing like Wonder Woman 1984, Soul, News of the World and Monster Hunter. Well, of course 2020 Christmas is not going to be as big as the previous Decembers because we are not because of the infamous coronavirus pandemic. But let's start with what we have got though. Wonder Woman 1984, the first and the only big huge movie that's going to be released this December is Wonder Woman 1984. It was the most anticipated movie of the year of 2020 and it still stays in 2020 after numerous delays. Well, the first Wonder Woman made around $821 million and this one was going to make more. Of course, my predictions were at $1.1 billion at the global box office. I mean the whole worldwide box office, and of course it's not going to be the case anymore. I don't think it's going to be even near to $1.1 billion. I don't think it's going to be even near to the first Wonder Woman movie. The first Wonder Woman movie generated more than $400 million in US alone. So the second one could have done, let's say, $450 million domestically. Let's say 104 was going to generate $450 million domestically, but now I will be cutting off the 400. I think it's going to be only $40 million domestic, so that puts at $1.1 billion prediction minus 400 to $700 million. Still, 700 million is not in its is not going to be anywhere near that. So the movie is being heavily marketized in China because that's the only place where this movie has huge chances of earning. The Asian markets, China, Vietnam, Japan and Korea, because the coronavirus situation is not so heavy over those countries. So of course this is going to be a big player over there as compared to Europe or US, because there have been partial theater closures throughout Europe, and in the US it's releasing on HBO Max as well as theaters, so that will be also affecting its domestic box office. I think it's going to be 40 million, less than Tenet, because of the HBO Max feature it's offering. However, the worldwide box office can be higher. Yeah, it can be higher than Tenet because in the other countries it's not releasing on HBO Max, and it is more anticipated than Tenet. It can make more money than Tenet. The overseas Tenet made $300 million. Let's say it makes $360 million plus that $40 million domestic total adds into this, leading to a $400 million worldwide total. And I think the Chinese box office is also going to play a major part in the film if it is really as good marketized as Aquaman. So my predictions stand at an opening weekend of $10 million domestically, a domestic total of $40 million, a Chinese box office total of $170 million, and a worldwide total standing to $400 million. Then here we have Soul, which is releasing only on Disney Plus in the US, so there's not going to be any domestic box office predictions for this movie because it's not releasing domestically in theaters. The predictions will purely be on the overseas box office, because there are some countries where it is going to be released where there's no Disney Plus, which includes China. Well, let's compare it with Mulan, which was also similar. I mean, another Disney movie that was released on Disney Plus in the US, but in China it was released in theaters, which made nearly $80 to $90 million. Of course, it was a Chinese property, which it features Chinese actors, so of course it was going to be more big over there. So I don't think it's going to be as big as Mulan in China, and Mulan was also not big, to be fair. It was not anything special in China. Soul overseas box office prediction just stand at $70 million. That's it. Only 70 million. Then there's News of the World, Tom Hanks movie, which is going to be released only domestically because it is an Oscar contender. So it's going to be released domestically in theaters. However, worldwide, for the overseas, it's going to be released on Netflix for most of the countries. I don't know about all, but it's releasing in Netflix for a lot of countries. So it has only the domestic part to play, and my prediction set at $22 million domestic total. That's it. Of course, it's not going to be some Tenet-like figures domestically. Then there is Monster Hunter, which is the only movie which is going to be released in theaters worldwide with no streaming option. Yeah, it's going to be released in theaters worldwide, and of course domestic box office is ruined, as we have seen with Tenet. It's not going to be any big at the box office domestically. So that's going to be a major. So, and it was never going to be big in the domestic total. It was always eyed Asian markets more than its domestic properties. So it's going to be big. I'm not saying very big, but it might be big in China, Japan, Vietnam, and all those Asian markets because of Tony Jaa, which is who is an Asian actor who's in the film. And Monster Hunter is a property that attracts the Asian audiences. So I think it can have a domestic opening weekend of $8 million, domestic total of $24 million, Chinese box office of $80 million, and a worldwide total of $180 million. Well, that's good for the movie even in this pandemic situation. So that's it. Like, share, and subscribe to Film Villa, and share your own thoughts in the comment section.